All right, welcome in the NBA tip-off show. I know it's March Madness. We got a lot going on here today, but let us not forget, we got 7 games on the NBA slate here and a couple of options for you in these games here tonight. We're going to roll out a couple of best bets for you. We'll talk a total. We'll see what the contrarian gods have to say, all the while keeping you updated on what the hell's going on with March Madness. Gotta love going live here on opening day. We're going to do it, of course, with 3 of the best at WagerTalk. We welcome in the man, Teddy Covers, TC in the house, ready to roll. Steve RR1L, and the man, Rob Vino, ready to go and talk some NBA action here tonight and some intriguing spots here, gentlemen, across the card. So let's dive in to where the contrarian gods are looking here, and they, for the life of them, can't figure out. Doesn't look like a whole lot of injuries. This number was as high as 3 with New Orleans laying it on the road, and the Orlando Magic a home dog here. So what say you here, Teddy? Are you buying New Orleans as a favorite on the road, or you think Orlando barks back here?
No, I'll buy New Orleans. I'll go against the contrarian play here. It's a Pelicans team I have no interest in stepping in front of right now. All right. When we think about what the upside is for these two teams, Orlando's not winning a first-round playoff series. All right. You know, the Magic are a good regular season team. They're going to make you some money. The upside's all on the New Orleans side. They're a team that has the potential. They have, in my opinion, a lot more upside for this season. But for this matchup, this is the Magic team. To say they've been feasting on the week since the All-Star break is an understatement. Charlotte, Toronto, Brooklyn, Washington, Charlotte again, Detroit, Utah, Brooklyn, Atlanta. They've been feasting on the week. They played 2 playoff teams during this whole span, the Pacers and the Knicks. They lost both those games by double digits. Yeah, I'll take the Pelicans here. That's a pedigree that I trust a little bit more than Orlando. Orlando's made me a lot of money over the last couple of years, but not tonight.
Teddy is going with the old, if it ain't broke, don't damn fix it here tonight with New Orleans. Team is rolling. How about you, RR1L, Steve Merrill? Orlando's been a pretty good home team here. Do you trust them enough to back them as a dog in this spot?
Yeah, 24-8 straight up, pretty good home team. So I don't know how contrarian this really is. I almost get a feeling like average Joe's probably going to be jumping on the Magic tonight. 24-8 straight up at home. Yet this line has gone from 1.5 to 3. It's a sharp square divide. So I'll fade the contrarian on the show here, but I'm not sure. I think I almost am going contrarian. I feel like I'm going contrarian by taking the Pelicans. And they've been a very good road team. Don't forget, they're 22-13 straight up on the road this year. They've been one of the more consistent road teams in the NBA. And Orlando just clinched a playoff berth with that win against Charlotte on Tuesday also. So could actually be a little bit of a letdown spot. New Orleans with the better record still has not clinched a berth because they're in that tougher Western Conference. And as Teddy said, Magic beating up on underachievers has been an understatement. I believe it's now 10 straight wins, and their last 10 straight wins have all been against losing teams. That's how weak the schedule has been. It's a step up in class, and while it might look strange to see a 24-8 team as a home dog, there's a reason why New Orleans is the better team, and it should be a focus spot tonight for the Pelicans.
I'm seeing 85% of the tickets, 75% of the money on New Orleans here tonight, Rob Vino. So you tell me, are you a part of the 85% or the 15% that is taking the home dog?
You can make a good case for both, Joe. Let's start right there. Certainly at this time of year, what I'm looking at the most is what these playoff implications are. How badly do these teams need games? Both of these teams right now, Orlando sits 1/2 game from hosting a home playoff series in the first round. New Orleans sits 1 game from doing the same. So they're both within that number 4 seed, that coveted 4 seed position. So you're going to get full effort out of both. The question is, which side do you prefer? And for me, the Orlando Magic, it always starts and ends with the same thing. If the other side can match Orlando's front court, then I'm on the other side. If Orlando has a big front court advantage, that's where their strength is. They're not necessarily a good perimeter shooting team. The backcourt doesn't supply much offensively. then I'm going to be playing the other team. New Orleans certainly has the backcourt, and New Orleans certainly has the bench. The rest factor doesn't come into play with either side here because they're both rested, so there's no advantage there. I'm going to take New Orleans simply because, Joe, they can match Orlando on the glass on both sides. They can match them offensively in the interior, and they're better on the exterior, both with or on the perimeter. Each team with the same motivation. I'll take New Orleans as the road. Small chalk. I'll go against the country. I guess I'm against the contrarians, right? I am. Let's do it.
Yeah, well, that's you're not part of that small group there, Rob, that is on Orlando. Looks like a whole lot of people believing in New Orleans tonight. So there you got it with that one. A big shout out to the chat room, of course, joining us live here today on Thursday. Big Daddy, Javi in the house, Titan CT, a life in Vegas. Good to see you back here. Catch you slipping. We appreciate it here, guys. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. Give us the thumbs up. We certainly appreciate the support here as we're getting ready to dive in for a featured matchup here tonight. One that's gonna is some interesting factors here with the New York Knicks taking on the champs, the Denver Nuggets, and we're seeing 8.5, even 7 in some spots this morning. I'm seeing 9.5s here across the board. Denver at home here, obviously doing their very best to take down that number 1 seed. No Anunoby, no Randall, no Robinson. The usual, Teddy, here. Usual suspects out for the Knicks. Pretty clean slate for Denver here. You like them to be laying nearly double digits?
Well, I'm more interested in the total in this game than the side. From the side standpoint, I'm going to have to let the other two guys talk about it because this one stands out to me as an underplay. Of course, the only meeting this year went under. Both meetings last year went under. Malone, Thibodeau, we're not talking about two teams and two coaches that are looking to push pace in any way, shape, or form. Denver, number 27 in pace this season. New York, number 29 in pace this season. You guys love it when I pull out the quotes. Here's the quote from Tom Thibodeau talking about how the Knicks have to play while they're dealing with all of these injuries. Quote, being shorthanded right now, we have to do it with our defense and our rebounding and keep the turnovers down. We fly around and work together like that. We have the type of activity we did that gives us a chance to win. So the Knicks have been playing a slow down style, defensive intensity style throughout this injury-riddled mess since the beginning of February for them. They didn't cash an under last time out, but they've been pretty consistently cashing unders since the break. In fact, prior to last time, they cashed 5 straight unders and 9 of their last 10. I think they cashed another one tonight. Denver, New York, under the total is the way I would look in this one.
Oh, under here. Like the look. They're expecting some less points, something that we have seen a lot of, by the way, since the All-Star break. We'll see if that continues here tonight. Double R1L Knicks taking on the Nuggets here tonight. Are you a fan of the side or a total, or what are you going to look at in this one?
Yeah, I don't want everyone to think I'm stealing Teddy's thoughts and being lazy on this heavy college basketball Thursday, but I also like the under, and I can prove that it's an original thought because I did a quick hitter 7-game analysis for all 7 games a couple hours ago. It's here on WagerTalk TV. It's my daily NBA video. Check that out. And I did mention there was some substantial sharp money early today on the under. It opened 209.5 overnight. It's down to 207.5. And the other thing I pointed out in that analysis in that video is that the Knicks have all of a sudden turned things around. This is a team that was really hot start of the year when they made that 2-for-1 swap with Toronto. Then some injuries hit. Most underrated superstar in sports, Jalen Brunson, was out, along with the most overrated superstar in sports, Julius Randle. But the Knicks have started to turn things around here, winning 5 of their last 6 straight up, covering 4 of the 6 with 1 push. And what I pointed out was that they've been fantastic defensively. There's no question this recent hot streak has come with better defense. Yes, they allowed Golden State to shoot 48 the other night, but the 5 games before that, they held all 5 opponents to 40% or less, including 4 of the 5 below 38.5%. So it's been just shut down defense. That's how they need to play. And that's one of the reasons we did see some sharp money coming on the under. Meanwhile, not a great spot for Denver. It's a 1-game homestand after the 4 straight road games and another road game on deck Saturday at Portland. So I also kind of see them maybe being a little lackluster here, which probably favors a lower scoring game. So I definitely agree with Teddy. I think the under is the way to play it.
All right, Vino, you're my last hope here. Am I the only one that sees the Knicks 6-2 straight up, 5-2-1 against the number in their last 8, even on this road trip where they're 3-0 straight up here? Didn't they just beat the Warriors on the road as a 6.5-point underdog here? Is somebody taking the Knicks on the side, Rob Vino?
No. I mean, the other two guys talked about the total.
Yeah. No.
And I'll talk about Denver. I won't argue against the under, but I'll say this. If the Knicks don't get absolutely destroyed on the glass tonight, then Denver's just lazy. I mean, Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart are your starting forwards against Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon. Case closed. Throw in Jokic. And you watched that rebound fest out of Phoenix last night. I think Devin Booker set a season high in the first quarter for offensive rebounds. If they weren't a lazy team, they probably would have scored 135 points last night, but they're lazy, nonchalant. Denver's not that whatsoever. Denver this month, 7 of their 9 games, 49% field goal shooting or better. They may be slow in tempo, but man, they're efficient offensively. I mean, I don't care how slow they are. They score every time they come down the floor, just about. The Knicks are not the same. And I'll say this, the Knicks are not the same defensive team without OG Anunoby. Remember when that trade happened? That was like the one thing that made Tom Thibodeau smile in the last 10 years. He had a guy who could actually lead by example, and the others followed. With Anunoby back out again, it's going to be more difficult, especially against a team like this. I just mentioned the height disadvantage for the Knicks starting lineup here. And Denver, for the most part, will focus on preventing Jalen Brunson from getting 40 points. He's going to have to do it because the rest of these guys are not consistent scorers. Josh Hart's on a good roll, but he's not a consistent guy where offense is concerned. And maybe Bogdanovich off the bench can shoot some here. But I would much rather put my stock in Denver. Remember, that win over Golden State, you're talking about a lineup that starts Draymond Green at center at 6'6" or whatever he is. Every player on the Nuggets starting lineup other than Murray is 6'6" or better. I think Denver's the right side here. The motivation is good on both sides. The Nuggets 12-2 straight up since the break. A half a game out of that number 1 seed behind Oklahoma City right now because Oklahoma City won last night. And for Denver, I mean, you heard it reported widely last night that Nikola Jokic during the All-Star break sent a text to all of his teammates and said, let's go. Second half, we got to go. Last year at this time, Joe, they were comfortable sitting in that number 1 seed spot. They didn't have to win a game. Now that they have to, they're 12-2 doing so. I think they could do so by 10 or more. I could see something in the vicinity of, 109-96, something like that in favor of the Nuggets tonight. So I won't argue against under, but I will, take a side with the Denver Nuggets here.
Damn, this is just, Teddy, this is not a total that correlates to a 9.5-point home team favorite. It's just maybe, you know what, you're right. Maybe the team total over, I think 108.5 for Denver, Teddy. I mean, how do you see if it's an under and Denver's still going to clear this, then we're talking about a Knicks team may get into 100. Is that about right?
Sure, that maybe the way to look would be Knicks team total under as opposed to anything else. Certainly makes sense to this better than New York. Not likely to get a whole lot of second chance opportunities, as Rob was saying, against Denver. So it's going to be a lot of one-shot possessions for the Knicks tonight against a championship level defense. That makes team total under certainly makes sense for this better.
Yeah, no, that's maybe not bad way to look there. Shout out to the chat room looking at this game. Also reminding everyone that the Nuggets did lose at Madison Square Garden earlier, but that was at a different team. Gentlemen, we do have, of course, it was a totally different situation here. But we do have, of course, a total that we want to talk about here tonight. Boy, this one was interesting this morning, too, as I watched it with the Houston Rockets and the Bulls. This thing opened up early this morning, 213.5, and damn, this thing got bet up quickly. 219 is what we're seeing here from the overnight. So Rob Vino, I'll come back to you here. Do you agree with the 5.5, 6 point line movement to the total here with the Rockets and the Bulls? And if so, is it just strictly an over here for you as well?
I think it is, Joe. And both of these teams we've talked about on this show as during the season as kind of pivoting at some point toward offensive style of play. For the Rockets, it was back when Ime Udoka wanted Jalen Green to go to the glass more. He's a bigger guard, get rebounds, push pace, and all of a sudden Houston started scoring points. For the Bulls, it was when they decided they're going to run the offense through Vucevic, and Billy Donovan said we need more possessions per 48 minutes. And they've been an over machine since that point, Joe. I went back to that game. They're 21-11 in the 32 games since that quote, over the total. Right now, they're on a pretty good run. They're 6-2 over last 8 games. All 6 hit 219 or better. So those who got in and pushed it all the way to 219 might have gotten a good number. For the Rockets, number 5 in pace, last 5 games in the NBA. Number 8 in pace over the last 10. 5-2 to the over. Last 7, put up 137 against the Wizards, I think, the other night. Rockets home games, where they really score quite a bit, maybe because Robert Harris, our producer, is in attendance. I'm not sure. But their home games average 225.3. And if I just separate it to East versus West, the Rockets versus Eastern Conference teams averaging 235.5 per game as a home favorite, which they're generally not, but they are in that situation tonight. How about 231 per game when they're a home favorite? Oof. I think the matchups really dictate it here, Joe. Was the push too excessive, and are we out of value at this point in time? I'm not quite sure. There might be some wiggle room left because, like I said, the Bulls in this 6-2 over stretch, the recent one, all 6 have hit 219 or better. So maybe the worst you're looking at is a push if you can find a 219. But there's a chance you can still get into the 220s here the way these two are playing. I think over is the right way to go.
All right. Over is the look there for Rob Vino. The market certainly agrees there, Steve Merrill. That's a big push here. But I guess recent games tells us, yeah, we better be looking at the over in this one.
Yeah, it was a big jump. I mean, 213 to 219 stands out to you, and it's not necessarily an injury move either. I mean, so it's definitely some sharp money on the over. And one of the things you can do in the NBA over an 82-game season is to find these little micro runs, these 5 to 10 game runs in which tempo especially changes for a team or something else changes. And the Bulls have gone over now 6 of their last 8, and it's 4 straight. And they're putting up some points. This was a struggling offense a month ago that was shooting in the low 40s, high 30s for multiple games. They have quietly now shot 48% or better in 3 of those last 4 overs, and they've shot 50% or better in 5 of their last 9. So they're just playing better offensively. Defense has suffered, though, along the way. They've given up over 50% shooting in 3 of their last 6 games. So I think that's one of the reasons we saw the money coming in the over. Houston also, they were shooting in the mid-30 range for several games back in late February. They've kind of turned it on offensively, and that's one of the reasons they're 8-1 straight up, 9-1 against the spread their last 10. And oh, by the way, they've gone over 5 of their last 7. So I think the sharp money move to the over does make some sense.
So I'm still seeing Kobe White and Caruso is questionable here for the Bulls, Teddy, 2 of the defenders that you'd want to see if you were looking at an under here tonight. But it does look like there's a pretty good chance one, if not both, are going here tonight. But this is usually a kind of swing and a big move where, we're like, okay, you good? Because we're going back the other way here and looking at the under. And, I mean, Houston has been great, but look at who Houston has played here recently. It's not exactly murderer's row either. So what do we do with this total here tonight, Teddy?
So first, the quotes, the one name that I didn't, and I respect Steve's analysis and Rob's analysis, and I agree with both of them. I didn't hear the word Albert Sengun come out of either guy's mouth. And he's like the way to make money betting NBA is find an injury that impacts the team significantly that's not being reflected in the markets. When Sengun got hurt, Udoka said, we need to push pace. And that's all they've done the last 3 games. Push pace. I couldn't find the one quote I was looking for. I found another one, but we're talking in specific about Green, who's been so good the last couple of games. Jalen Green's been a monster for them. And his quote, when he's taking those shots without thinking about it, reading the defense, being aggressive, especially in the pace that we played with, the results have been favorable. The faster pace that gets him in the open court, he sees some easy one goes down, blah, blah, blah. He's been really aggressive. The bottom line is the Rockets, just the last 3 games, that first game when Sengun was out against San Antonio, it was a slog. It was an ugly offensive game. And after that, Udoka was like, we got to push. And it's been 3 straight overs. I know 2 came against the Wizards, but 1 came against Cleveland. And Cleveland doesn't cash a whole lot of overs. They're not pushing pace against anyone. So I would absolutely look over the total in this game. Again, we missed the best of the number. I'm never going to recommend anyone take 5 points, the worst of it. But Rockets overs right now is absolutely a thing. I don't expect it to end tonight.
It ain't broke, don't fix it. Shout out to Benson in the chat room who says, quote, you know what happens when everyone is on the same side. We have to play Orlando now tonight. Outstanding job, Benson. Very nice. He knows exactly how that works. Everybody in agreement. Appreciate that there, guys. Make sure you hit that thumbs up here. And the subscribe button if you're new to us here at WagerTalk TV as we get ready to talk some dogs. 7 games, 7 dogs. Inevitably, 1 or 2 of these is barking. So let's see what we got tonight here, Robert.
That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. And anybody got to say anything, you let me know. That's my dog.
Boom! Let's look at. We got the. Oh, that is disgusting. The net. Oh God. Oh God. This is getting worse as we go down the list here. The Magic 2.5. You got the Bulls there. We got the Knicks. Oh, the Atlanta Hawks. How did we forget about them? Very easily. Getting 9 as well here. So this is absolutely disgusting, Teddy. Which one is barking though tonight?
So let's start with this. Okay, it's not dog season in the NBA. It's favorite season in the NBA. We saw it again last night. All right, this mid-March stretch is a stretch where I have no problems laying double digits, where most of the year I tend to be a little more conservative, laying points against some bottom feeders. So, what we see, every game but 1 last night was a double-digit margin. And we could see that again tonight. All that said, I don't trust Milwaukee laying 9.5. It doesn't look like Giannis is going to play. Middleton won't be in the lineup. They're coming off a down-to-the-wire game last night that they lost. All the talk about Doc Rivers' defense, yeah, he's improved the defense. Not lately, he hasn't. They had a little boost, but not of late. And for all the struggles the Brooklyn Nets have had, and they've had a ton of struggles, they're still saying the right things. We're still seeing competitive efforts. A lot of these teams that are going to the lottery have let go of the rope. Look at the Wizards when things go wrong. Look at the Raptors when things go wrong. Look at the Hornets in Orlando the other night. When things go bad, the bottom feeders are letting down. And I just haven't seen that same, the Nets are staying competitive in these games. And in theory, they still have a chance to get in the play-in game. So I think 9.5 is too rich. Give me the points with Brooklyn.
Oh, all right. There you go. Brooklyn getting it done here tonight for Teddy. He's absolutely correct, though. This is definitely not dog season here, RR1L. But inevitably, one of them will snap back here. Who are you leaning towards here tonight?
Yeah, so this is what you don't do in sports betting. I'm actually going to do it here to prove a point. But whenever you're waffling on a card and you don't like anything, people end up playing more games, I think, and they're all mediocre. And that's how I feel tonight. So I don't really like any of these dogs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 2 of them. I'm going to double down and hope to get one of them right at least. But obviously, Joe wanted some confirmation of his New York Knicks. So I will give him some love and say that I bless the Knicks. I would lean that way. I know we talked total, but I do think if it's a low-scoring game like we all kind of projected, that favors the dog. And you also can make an argument it's not a great spot for Denver. As I said earlier, it's a sandwich 1-game homestand between 6 road games on each end. And they just had the big game against Minnesota the other night. So I think the Knicks are live at +9 as well. They've been playing defensively. And I'll contrast that with a god-awful defensive underdog, and that's not my Washington Wizards. And here's the context I'll use when analyzing that game. I talked about my daily quick hitter video for the NBA. I did it yesterday as well. And the free play I gave out in that video was the Kings at Toronto. I thought they would get this road trip started off right, but I was a little worried that maybe they'd take their foot off the gas in the second half with the no rest here at Washington, a game at Orlando Saturday. So instead of the 11, I recommended Sacramento 6.5 on the first half line. It was also my free play at WagerTalk.com. Never in doubt. They blew them out in the first half, blew them out in the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter was actually flat. They did take their foot off the gas. They won easily. If there's going to be a letdown spot for Sacramento, and by the way, you're never playing on the Wizards. You're just playing against their opponent. It might be tonight because they do have that. They had the easy win yesterday, traveling with no rest, and they have that big look ahead against the 24-8 home Magic on Saturday. So if you're going to dare play the Wizards, and I do say dare, this might be the spot for them to sneak in and get a rare cover tonight, plus 11.
All right, there you go. What are you going to do now, Benson? Merrill just backed the Knicks. We're just a mess of a shot here today. Now, Rob Vino, come on, my man. This is it's got a lot of overs for you and some disgusting dogs. So which one would you be looking at here tonight to get the job done?
I mean, where you want me, Joe? Where do you want me on this card?
There's some grossness up here.
Yeah. You know, if you were just going to go and play the underdog that's been covering the most lately, with what's left that Steve and Teddy haven't talked about, you would look at Utah. Utah, again, snuck in under a number. Oklahoma City had them by like 19 with a couple minutes left, but Utah, they keep playing till the final buzzer. Sneak in under that number last night. Here they're going to get 13.5 against a Dallas team that doesn't play a lot of defense, so that one could make sense. Problem is it's back-to-back for Utah. Not a ton of travel, Oklahoma City to Dallas, but still back-to-back with travel against a rested team. But I'm going to try the Atlanta Hawks here, and this is probably not smart. The Atlanta Hawks are 1-4 against the spread last 5 games, but I watched Phoenix last night, Joe, and those turnover woes continue to just haunt that team. They had 21 turnovers with like 8 minutes left in the fourth last night. They don't have a true point guard. They kind of sleepwalk their way through games based on talent. They make lazy passes. They have open guys. They take too long to do everything. Nurkic, you watch him underneath. His first move is to put his shoulder through your chin and then complain that it's not a foul. There's just nothing cohesive about that team. So perhaps on a back-to-back tonight, you can find them a little bit fatigued. And I guess you could also throw into the handicap here that Phoenix is the worst fourth quarter team in the NBA. So if you're getting points and you're trying to get in a back door, there's no better favorite to get in the back door against than the Phoenix Suns right now, who only averaged 25 in the fourth. They only got to 25 last night, and that was with the help of a three-pointer when, generally speaking, NBA teams dribble out the clock when they have a lead. But Phoenix decided to chuck in 3 for good measure to get them to their 25 average. So I'll try the Atlanta Hawks here plus 9, figuring they'll come to play and maybe sneak inside that big number.
Yeah, Can't You Slim just wants to know these dogs are making him sick to his stomach. Join the club there. It has been gross these past couple of days. That is for sure here. All right, so we've got some dogs. Can't argue with the Hawks there, Vino. We got a little something for everyone here tonight, in addition to possibly an upset here with Morehead State. Stay tuned. Taking on Illinois. We got to get some best bets in the house. So, you know how it works. We throw 60 seconds on the clock. These guys get the floor. They'll give us a best bet. So, Teddy, we're coming to you, my man. Tell us, where are you looking for a best bet here tonight?
Well, we are going to talk about the Kings and the Wizards. First, though, I want to give you guys a promo code, Teddy7 at checkout. That's going to get you $30 off 7-day all access. Don't buy any plays. Get a package, 7-day all access. Teddy7 gets you $30 off. Just use that promo code at checkout. Sacramento and Washington. Let's see. These two teams played earlier this season, 143 to 131. That was the third straight over between the two. When we look at pace ratings right now, the Wizards number 1 in pace full season, number 1 in pace last 5 games, number 1 in pace last 10 games. They haven't slowed down at all, and they're not playing a lick of defense. I know it's a second of back-to-backs. I'm not convinced Sacramento brings it defensively tonight either, but I am expecting points in bunches. 238, that
Ooh.
seems a bit low for this better. I like Sacramento and Washington over the total.
Love it. No doubt. Don't expect any defense there in that one. Up and over for Teddy here tonight as a best bets. All right, Double R, 1L here. There is some disgustingness, some big favorites, some interesting totals. Where are you landing for a best bet here tonight?
Yeah, quick reminder, I did a quick hitter for all 7 NBA games tonight, a little 12-minute video here on WagerTalk TV, so check that out, my daily 7 for Thursday Night Pro Hoops. I'm going to give you a free play that I gave in that video here on this show as well, but more importantly, tons of college basketball still to go. I've got 4 strong best bets for Thursday night tournament action. I made a 4-for-1 special. Each is 25 or get all 4 for just 29. It's a fantastic 4-for-1 special Thursday night NCAA tournament action. And a bonus free play for Friday is ready. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. And also, hot off the press, Friday's Fade the Public Tournament Edition is on WagerTalk TV right now. Let's look at the Dallas Mavericks, minus 13.5 for a blowout win tonight. They beat the Jazz by 50 earlier this season and then lost the rematch by 37 a month later. They play them again in a few nights. This is a standalone situation. They're rested on both ends. It's a focus spot for one of the hottest teams in the league. Mavericks 6-1. Straight up in ATS their last 7. Take a look at Dallas minus the 13.5 tonight.
Ooh, all right. Going Dallas here tonight. Another best bet in the books, which leaves us Rob Vino ready to bring it home here. And Robert's telling me it's all right. You know, he knows it's Houston, but you can go ahead and say it anyway. So go ahead, Rob Vino. 60 seconds. Where are you rolling for a best bet here tonight?
Let me go ahead and tell you, Houston team total over 111.5. And
Yes!
I'm going to start after listening to Teddy. After listening to Teddy, I'm just going to assume now that whenever Ime Udoka wants to tell us that he's going to increase pace, he's just going to insert a different player's name, right? He told us Jalen Green getting to the boards and pushing tempo 25 games ago was the key to them winning. Since then, they're the 4th fastest team in the NBA. It's not something that just happened over the last 3 when he decided to tell us that Şengün is the reason why they push pace. Once Jabari Smith Jr. gets hurt, he'll probably say he's the reason that they have to push pace. But Houston's been pushing pace for a long, long time. They'll probably push it tonight against the Bulls. The Bulls have been very good offensively. And as Steve mentioned, they've been really poor defensively, stopping teams. So Houston home games seem to generate a lot more points for this squad. I think 111.5 is reasonable here. They've gone over 112 every game except one this month. Houston team total over 111.5.
Boom! Getting it done there here tonight with a little team total. Got a little something for everyone. Big shout out, by the way, for the chat room here. We've got it appears there's a number of people believe the Wizards couldn't beat UConn, and there might be some validity to that. But we'll have to see. Well, UConn's got to win a game first before we start crowning them there. We got the Jazz on the money line, which is excessive. Catch you slipping. That's appreciative, though. The Rockets team total up and over here tonight. You've got agreement there, Rob Vino. So once again, we've got a recap that involves Mavericks, later 2 touchdowns here. Who are we kidding? The Rockets team total over 111.5 for Vino and Teddy. He's smelling an over here tonight, guys. And that's with Sacramento and Washington getting it done. Love it. There you go here, guys. We got a little something for everyone here tonight. Plenty of March Madness going on, of course. Keep an eye on the NBA with about 13 games left or so. And then, of course, it'll be playoff bound as well. So plenty of NBA action still coming your way. Don't forget to hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe, guys. And come back and join us again tomorrow for another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show. Until then, go check out all the other content that we've got here on all the big games coming up. College hoops, NHL, NBA, and don't forget, Major League Baseball will be here before you know it. In fact, it is here, and that too will be available to you. So best of luck with all the plays here today. We'll see you guys again tomorrow. Good luck.